Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Creatures of the Night podcast. Today we have a little bit of an impromptu movie review. My name's Narciso. I'm going solo today. This past weekend, my wife and I were in Austin, Texas, and we actually got to see the movie Weapons in the Alamo Draft House, which was very cool. We went into it kind of cold turkey. I honestly saw like one trailer for this film and knew nothing about it on purpose. I know a lot of people were telling me that I had to go see it. I know that the hype train is in full effect for Weapons right now. So we went in and we saw it. I gave it about 4 days. I let it marinate before I gave an opinion on it. Directed by Zach Cregger or Krieger. Not sure how the hell they say it, but I'm a fan of Barbarian. So I knew that he was up and coming and I kind of liked his horror style. Now, after seeing it, I don't consider this a real horror film. It's kind of in the threshold of thriller with some horror aspects. The twist, I don't know if it's a little spoilery talk, but is that it ends up being a witchcraft movie, which is kind of cool. We haven't had a nice witch film in a while. And I didn't see that coming. I didn't. My wife did. She kind of called it early on, and she was on point with that. So I give her props for that. The cast is very, very good. Josh Brolin, Julia Garner. And my favorite character actually was Alden Ehrenreich. I can never say his name right. Everybody always knows him as Han Solo in the Solo film, but he was actually my favorite character. The film itself has a very cool editing style where the movie starts with the event of the children being gone already had taken place, and it starts off in a sort of a what do you call it, town hall meeting type of thing, where everybody is kind of having a witch hunt towards Julie Gardner's character, the teacher, because all the kids that disappeared are from her classroom. So they're all just kind of like going in at her, thinking that she's the one that made their kids disappear overnight. It was a little symbolic, being that it ends up being a witch movie, and they're kind of having a whole witch hunt throughout the film. Josh Brolin being one of the fathers of the kids, who kind of has a character arc, because he's like one of the main guys leading the mob against her, and then ends up working with her and finding her to be a innocent person, and then kind of like helping her out and figuring this out. The Amy Madigan character, which everybody loves doing these memes now because she has like a crazy bizarre look with the crazy wig and the smeared lipstick on her. She is the aunt of the main kid's mom, who sort of has nobody left, and they're bringing her into town so they can stay with her. She's very ill. And that is when it kind of gives you that's when the movie kind of starts to take a twist and turn towards, this is more going on here than it seems. What I do love is how the movie is edited out of order through different people's perspectives, and you kind of have to put it together, because you watch a scene and you're like, oh, this is what's going on. Later on, you watch a scene of that same scene through somebody else's point of view, and you see details that you did not see the first time, and you start changing your mind entirely. So it's kind of a mind fuck where you're just kind of like putting things together, and you start to see more backstory on all the main players of the film. And the more the film goes in, the more you start to fill in the gaps with the Amy Madigan character, kind of pulling the strings behind the scenes, mind you. And it's kind of like, that's some of the issues I had with this film, is her character, because she just shows up and it's almost like immediately she starts tangling her web in the household. She immediately puts the two main parents in a catatonic state. The kid comes home and he just kind of he's freaked out about it, and she threatens him with it, and then he kind of just accepts it and has to do whatever the crazy auntie says, because otherwise she'll make the parents hurt themselves. There's one scene in particular that was one of the most disturbing scenes, which is when she first threatens a kid with, "You better do everything I tell you or I will make your parents hurt themselves." And she does like a spell type of thing, and they just start like jabbing forks on their faces. And I think that was like the most like uncomfortable scene in the whole movie, to me at least. But it's kind of like the kid too easily went in on it, too easily didn't immediately try to, I don't know, he's a kid. Like, I understand that he's scared and he doesn't want his parents hurt, but after weeks of the parents being catatonic in a table, just staring at each other and almost like zombified, I think it gets to a point where you have to say, fuck this, and I'm going to go tell people. And it never got to that point, and that made it a little bit unrealistic to me, to the point where it kind of took me away from it a little bit. Other than that, I thought it was a very well-made film. Good score. I thought the cinematography and composition was fantastic. I loved the editing style in it. So it was enough to keep me intrigued and focused on the film with everything that's going on. It looks expensive. It was a $38 million budget, so it wasn't like it was a low-budget film, but it looks amazing. And there's some really cool choreographed one-take scenes without the film, with the kids running through houses and neighborhoods, and I thought that was like one of the best sequences throughout the film. Overall, I think that Zach Cregger is headed in the right direction. I think what I like about him is that he does his own thing. So far, the two films that he's done in this horror genre, quote unquote, have been nothing within the horror cookie cutter type of films that a lot of people fall into, where they'll do a horror movie and they stay within the confines of that horror movie just to say that it's this type of horror movie. So far, both of his are his own creation. There's nothing like them. So yeah, he has his own visions, his own style. He writes his movies, and I like where he's going. He has a look to him. He has a style to him. That going forward, you can probably say, oh, that's a Zach Cregger movie. His next project is going to be an ambitious one. He's actually going to go do Resident Evil now. He's already stated that it's gonna be a love letter to the actual games. He says he's a huge fan of the games, and the whole film is gonna be through the perspective of one specific individual from beginning to end. And I think I really like that idea. Just following one person trying to make it through a whole like apocalypse of zombie mayhem. Kind of like 28 Days Later, but Resident Evil style. So I wish him the best of luck with that. I'm a huge Resident Evil fan, not the films that came with Paul Anderson or whatever his name is. None of those. Those were all bullshit action films. But if he can do a smaller toned, more confined Resident Evil film, more on the way the original film video game was made, where it was sort of confined to a mansion or Raccoon City, but it's all claustrophobic and dark. And if he can stick to that, he can probably make the best Resident Evil film that we've ever gotten, because to this point, there's nothing good. Maybe the Romero short commercial that he did for the original Biohazard, which is incredible. If you haven't seen that, go watch it. That's probably the other best Resident Evil thing that they've made so far. But overall, weapons, I did enjoy it very much. I think it set the tone for fall, now going into October, for the horror community to sink their teeth into something actually well directed, well shot, and executed. I'm beginning to become a very big fan of Zach Cregger. So as of now, I think that has been my favorite horror movie I've seen for maybe this year. I don't know. I think so. So far, well, maybe Nosferatu and this right now are probably my top two. So I highly, highly, highly recommend you go check it out. Now, does it have rewatchability? I don't know. I honestly don't really think I would need to see Weapons again. It was a one and done for me, but it's a good one and done. It was well made. I mean, 4 days later, I'm still talking about specific scenes and things that I saw in this movie. So I highly recommend it. It's a good start to the season. Go check it out. Till next time.